Well, folks, it's 2:30. I'll call the meeting to order. The procedure for the meeting is mostly on page 44. I would like to add one thing to that, which I do every year.
Can you put your mic on or
If
something?
someone...
Turn your mic on.
I don't think they can hear us back there. You're talking.
Okay.
How's that? Okay. I like to add this every year. If somebody makes an amendment to a motion, I would like to dispose of that amendment and not get into an amendment to an amendment. It gets a little sticky after that. So if somebody makes an amendment, there's two ways to dispose of it. We can vote on the amendment, or if after discussion you don't think that's the right amendment, we can vote it out, or the person who made the motion can withdraw it. There's two ways of addressing the amendment. Are there any questions or comments before we start the meeting? I would ask you to keep the discussion on the article that we're on during the meeting. So, Article 3. To see if the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to spend an amount not to exceed 1/4 of the approved budget for 2020 between January 1st, 2021 and the date of the regular 2021 town meeting, with the exception of the highway and the general assistance budget. Both the Selectmen and the Advisory Board recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Okay, have read.
Moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? Thank you. Is opposed. Article 4, to see if the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to increase the property tax levy limit of $1,052,550 established for the town of Anson by state law in the event that the municipal budget approved under the ensuing article will result in a tax commitment that is greater than that limit. Selectmen and Advisory Board recommend yes. Is there a motion? Moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Down hands, those opposed? It is a vote. Article 5, to see if the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to fix October 1st, 2020 as the date when all taxes assessed in 2020 shall be paid, and to authorize the tax collector to charge the maximum allowable rate of interest, 9%, from that date if not paid until thereafter. Selectmen and Advisory Board recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Move it, read. Second.
Moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none? Oh, yes, Marie?
How long can you let your taxes go without paying them before something is done?
Anyone care to address it?
Yes, for the foreclosure procedure, it'd be a total of 3 years. If they're on the books longer than that, the town has probably gone into payment arrangements with them, so the town actually didn't remove them from their home. So usually up to 3 years. You may see some that are making payment arrangements so they can stay in their home.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Down hands, those opposed? There's a vote. Article 6, to see if the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to permit the Board of Selectmen to pay for abatements out of the overlay account. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Move it, read. Second.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? There's a vote. Article 7, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the budget of the administration, includes selectmen wages. Administration, $338,562. Selectmen, $5,668, reduced by $6,000, carried over from the previous town meeting request. $338 230. Selectmen Advisory Board, both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Move it read. Second.
Moved and supported, is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, 'tis a vote. Article 8, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the budget of special officers, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to appoint the official for the ensuing year. Special officers, $11,815. Planning Board, $200. Request, $12,015. Selectmen Advisory Board, both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Move it read. Second.
Moved and supported. Discussion? Yes.
What is a special officer?
That's like your code enforcement, your animal control officer. Those are your special officers.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Down hands, those opposed? There's a vote. Article 9, see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the Anson Fire Department. Request, $122,620. Selectmen Advisory Board, both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Move it as read. Second.
Moved and supported, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, is a vote. Article 10, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for match for the Maine Forestry Service grant. Request is $3,870. Selectmen Advisory Board, both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Yes.
Is this something new?
Is this something new?
No, this has been done for years.
No, okay.
Any other questions? All in favor? Down hands, those opposed, tis vote. Article 11, to see if inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to negotiate on behalf of the town to provide fire protection to the town of Emden. Request is yes. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Question. Second.
Moved and supported. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, 'tis a vote. Article 12, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the subsidy to the AMS ambulance service. Request is $47,800. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move question. Second.
Do I hear a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, 'tis a vote. To see, Article 13, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for emergency management services. Request is $3,655. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? All in favor? Down hands, those opposed, tis a vote. Article 14, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for streetlight budget. Request is $24,900. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Move question. Second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, it is a vote. Article 15, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the purpose of paying the storm drain services. Request is $2,938. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Move question. Second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, it is a vote. Article 16, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the fire hydrant budget. Request is $134,000. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Move question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, to the vote. Article 17, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for highway budget. Request is $489,636. Reduced by $459,037.37, to be raised by taxation $30,598.63, for a total of $489,636. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? Tis a vote. Article 18, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the recreation budget. Request is $30,110. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? Tis a vote. Article 19, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the after-school program for Anson students. Request is $11,100. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Move the question.
Questions? Yes, Maria?
Isn't this a lot more than it usually is?
Nope, it's been the same amount for probably at least 4 to 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? It is a vote. Article 20, to see if the inhabitants of town of Anson vote to appropriate $10,100 from franchise fees received from Spectrum and Beeline Cable for support of CATV Channel 11. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Move the second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? It is a vote. Article 21, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for general assistance budget. Request is $4,000. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend $4,000. Is there a motion?
Move the question.
Moved and supported. Any questions? All in favor? Down hands. Those opposed? It is a vote. Article 22, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the Madison Anson Days celebration. Request is $5,500. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Yes.
I'd personally like to thank the committee for the job they did last year. I thought it came out really well, and I just thought that they ought to be recommended for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, it is a vote. Article 23, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the animal shelter. Request is $5,525. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, it is a vote. Article 24, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the public library budget. Request $8,000 for Stewart Public Library, $6,500 for the Madison Public Library, a total of $14,500. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? It is a vote. Article 25, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson vote to raise and appropriate for the purpose of supporting the following charitable organizations. Food cupboard, $12,500. Madison Anson Senior Citizens, $800. Family Violence Project, $4,375. Sexual assault crisis, $879. Spectrum Generations, $2,104. Kennebec Behavioral Health, $3,227. Hospice Volunteers of Somerset County, $900. KV Cap Transportation, $1,275. KV Cap Child and Family, $1,700. And the Lifelight Foundation, $600, making a total of $28,360. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? It is a vote. Article 26, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote and raise to appropriate for the cemeteries, monument, decorations, windmill repair, and North Anson Pond property. Request is $13,470. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? It is a vote. Article 27, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for subsidy to the Kennebec Valley Regional Waste Corporation, Recycling and Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. Request is $37,121. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, it is a vote. Article 28, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the disposal of solid waste, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to negotiate for same. Request is $95,000. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move the question. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? There's a vote. Article 29, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for debt service. Loader payment, $10,499. Highway garage bond, $74,000. Truck lease payment, $20,905. Sewer bond debt, $40,000. Kennebec Regional Development Authority, $6,200, making a total of $151,604, funded as follows. $7,826 KRDA fund, $52,124 DOT local road assistance, $20,000 highway garage reserve, $71,654 from taxation, for the total of $151,604. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
Move question. Second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? There's a vote. Article 30, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to appropriate for fire station maintenance and forestry truck to be funded by the Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund. Request is $76,470. Selectmen Advisory Board. Selectmen recommend yes. Advisory Board recommend no. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And supported. Questions? Bruce?
What is the maintenance versus the cost of the forestry truck?
Is there a separation on the amount for the fire station maintenance and the forestry truck?
Yep, go ahead.
The estimate on the painting of the fire station's high because we end up using the same estimate of painting of the south station, which is considerably bigger than the north station. I got an estimate from Johnny Kerr, and I think it was around $4,000 to have that one repainted.
That also reminds me, I've had him do some work for me and I have to fight with him tooth and tongue to get an insurance.
Do we have a number? I can't hear it.
The forestry truck is 4670.
64670 for the forestry truck and the maintenance?
That's putting the lights and
Okay, and
everything
maintenance,
on.
fire station maintenance, would leave.
was 6,000.
6,000, okay.
My other question was, do we require a certificate of insurance from certain contractors that have painted it before? Because I have a hard time getting one when I have him do work for me.
The town does, yes.
Any other questions? Yes.
Is there anybody on the advisory board here that can speak on why they oppose it?
There was 3 opposed. Is any of those here? Or can somebody else say why they opposed it?
I don't see Doug here.
My person, yeah, both.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
I think the concern was the painting or repainting of the fire station because there was one that was done 5 years ago. That was the concern.
For one of them.
I think that was wrong.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. Any other questions?
What was his answer for?
There was one.
You can't hear
or
that
There was a
here.
couple board members that had a concern of painting the North Station because it was done 5 years ago. So they were questioning, did it need to be done again?
I thought you said that the South Station was going to be painted.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing, yes, Bruce?
What is this forestry truck? Pickup?
Yep, it's right outside.
Apparently it's parked outside.
Yes,
One like that.
We're replacing the second one that was one of the older 80s.
84s, it's down at the South Station. We're just trying to replace that one because it's served its purpose and it's done. I can't get it inspected anymore because nobody wants to put an inspection sticker on it because it's so old, it's overweight for what we have on it. And there's not many safety features on them anymore. There's no airbags. I can't get too many people into it. We use it for mutual aid when another town calls for mutual aid for SCBA people, and SCBA people are the one that go in interior. Instead of taking out one of our bigger trucks that kind of puts our town in limp mode, we have to then rely on Madison or Skowhegan to come cover our town while they take one of our other big trucks out. So I wanted to put some of our people in a smaller truck, send them out of town with that, and keep some of our bigger engines in the town, so.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor of the article, please signify. Down hands, those opposed. Okay, there's a vote. Article 31, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to appropriate for fire capital reserve from the ended money. Request is $41,709. Funded $41,709 from the town of Emden Fire Protection. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, it is a vote. Article 32, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate into the Fire Capital Reserve for SCBA tank replacement. Request is $3,000. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved. Second.
And supported. Any questions? I understand this is the first money being put into this account. There is none in it already. So, any questions? All those in favor? Down hands, those opposed, tis vote. Article 33, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to raise and appropriate for the Sewer Capital Reserve Fund. Request is $20,000. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, tis a vote. Article 34, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to appropriate for an electronic sign in North Anson and a wooden sign at the town office to be funded by the tax-acquired property revenue. Request is $16,124. Funded by tax-acquired property revenue, $8,000. Raised from taxation, $8,124. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved.
No.
Questions? Yes, Marie?
Yeah. I I think the sign we have coming across the bridge, as far as the sign goes, it's a very nice sign, but I feel that someday somebody's gonna come across that bridge, be looking at the sign and have an accident. I just think it's a poor place to have it.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. All those in favor of the article, please signify. Down hands, those opposed. Ooh. Okay, hold your hands up, the ones that are opposed. 7. I got 7. Down hands. Those down. Now those in favor. Okay, it passes. Thank you. Okay. 35. Thank you, Dan. To see if inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to construct a parking lot on Main Street, Anson, on the property owned by Eagle Creek Hydro, with easements given to the town of Anson, and to see what sum of money the inhabitants of the town of Anson will vote to appropriate from the tax-acquired property revenue. Request is $25,000, funded by tax-acquired revenue. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Question? Yes.
I'm looking at the proposed parking lot. Is there going to be parallel parking in front of that lot? And that's what it's showing on this.
Yes.
So how do they get into that lot?
Some of the parking lots coming on the land that DOT owns, the state road, they're gonna come in right next to where the building is. There's a drive that goes around. It's gonna come in and you'll come out the other side, so you're never backing out. You're gonna come in and go out, so you're in and park, and then we'll come out. And there'll be parallel parking only on the other side, plus there'll be a crosswalk across right in front of the restaurant.
Yes, Bruce?
Did I hear you correctly that the side next to the restaurant is going to be parallel parking and not end over the sidewalk?
That is, yes.
That's the proposal.
Yes.
Yes, Clarence?
Wasn't there issues with that land on the riverside as far as having sinkholes and stuff that needed to be repaired a few years ago? And
Down further by where what I would call the large culvert, the parking lot is not going that far up.
It's down where the old abridgment abutment was. There was a stone.
so even down where the parking lot's going, there's no sinkholes we need to worry about coming up with an extra couple $100,000 to fix?
Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Who is gonna do the work?
It'll go out to bid.
As well to bid.
We got estimates on it, but it'll still go out to bid at that point. Highway will do some of it. So it'll.
Oh, I forgot to give the instructions to turn the cell phones down. Shame on me. Okay, any other questions or comments on Article 35 on the parking lot? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Down hands, those opposed, it is a vote. Thank you. Before I read out 36, we have the results of the election. Office of Selectmen, Jane Smith, 141 votes. SAD 74 Director, Judith Dumpy, 123. Grace Carrio, 89. And we voted for 2, so both of them will be elected. 74 Director, vote for 1. Heather Longley, 91 votes. Pamela Mitchell, 62, so I declare Heather Longley elected to that post. Anson Madison Sanitary District, Gary Anderson, 86 votes. Raymond Moody, 65 votes. I declare Gary Anderson elected. Anson Madison Water District Trustee, Ralph Withy, 139 votes, and I declare him elected. So that's the results of your election. There was a total of 162 ballots cast. Okay, Article 36, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of town of Anson will vote to appropriate from the Highway Reserve Fund for equipment and the dump body for a 2007 truck. Request is $15,100. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, there's a vote. Article 37, to see what sum of money the inhabitants of town of Anson will vote to appropriate for the purchase of a new pump for sewer pump station number 2 and to repair the old pump to be used as a spare pump to be funded from the sewer capital reserve fund not to exceed $30,000. Selectmen and the Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, please vote. Article 38, to see if the inhabitants of town of Anson vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to apply for a Safe Routes to School grant in the year of 2020 for a sidewalk to be installed on Route 16 and Route 201A, sidewalk to Pinkham's Market in 2023 with the secure of a local match of 20%. Amount would be voted on in 2021 at the annual town meeting if grant is approved. And to see if the inhabitants of town of Anson vote to appropriate $4,800 to conduct a survey of the proposed sidewalk location. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Moved and supported. Is there questions? Comments? Seeing none. All in favor? Down hands. Those opposed? Please vote. 39. To see if the inhabitants of town of Anson vote to authorize the tax collector to accept tax payments prior to commitment. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
It's moved and supported. Discussion. Seeing none. All in favor? Down hands. Those opposed? There's a vote. Article 40, to see if the inhabitants of town of Anson vote to transfer the entire balance of the snowmobile reimbursement fund to the Anson North Anson Snowmobile Club. The request is yes. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes. Is there moved? Seconded? Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed, please vote. Article 41, to see if the inhabitants of town of Anson vote to authorize the selectmen or their agents to possess, sell, lease, or otherwise dispose of, on behalf of the town, any property in which the town has acquired or hereafter acquires title or interest by tax deed, tax mortgage lien, or other means, the cost of the expense necessary and incidental thereto be appropriated from such proceeds as may accrue to the town by reason of such authority. Also, to see if the inhabitants of the town of Anson will authorize the selectmen and their successors in office to execute on behalf of the town of Anson all necessary conveyance of real estate for the purpose of carrying out any action undertaken by the former part of this article. Selectmen and Advisory Board recommend yes. Is there a motion?
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? Is a vote. 42, to see if the inhabitants of town of Anson vote to authorize the municipal officers to designate which budgets, which balances will be carried forward at the end of the year, of the fiscal year. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Questions? All in favor? Down hands. Those opposed? There's a vote. To see if the inhabitants of the town of Anson vote to maintain a 7-member committee, advisory board, and 3 alternates with voting rights when necessary to fulfill a quorum to serve as consultants to the municipal officers. Members to have names placed on a list ranked according to the date of the call to the administrative assistant. Selectmen Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved and supported. Question. All in favor? Down hands, those opposed? There's a vote.
I move that we take 44, 45, and 46, 47 onwards.
All right, the motion is 44, 45, 46, and 47 be voted on as written. Is there a second to that motion? Moved and supported. This requires no discussion. All in favor of that action? Down hands, those opposed? Those articles are accepted as written. Article 48, to see if the inhabitants of the town of Anson vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to go to bond and borrow up to $600,000 for repair and maintenance of town roads. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Is there discussion?
Discuss 47, and went right over it.
Seeing none, all in favor? Down hands, those opposed? Tis a vote. Article 49. To approve the order pursuant to Title 23, MSR 3026/A, signed by the Board of Selectmen on November 12, 2019, to discontinue that portion of the Nault Road from its beginning at the intersection of Anson Valley Road, Route 234, extending southerly to its most southerly point, as described in Article 34 of the Town of Anson Annual Town Meeting warrant on March 5th, 1962, including any portion of the Nault Road that is currently on or abutting land owned by Anthony and Stacy Ayotte. The purpose of said discontinuance is, in effect, to complete discontinuance and closure of the northerly portion of the Nault Road, formerly known as the Quincy Woods Road, all or a portion of which was discontinued by vote pursuant to Article 34 at the Anson Town Meeting on March 5th, 1962. A public easement is not being retained in this section of the Nault Road that is hereby discontinued. In addition, to approve damages in the amount of $0 to be paid to the abutting property owners as determined by the municipal officers as a result of the order and by agreement with the abutting property owners. No appropriation of funds is necessary to finalize this discontinuance. Selectmen and Advisory Board both recommend yes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and supported. Is there discussion? Clarence?
For a little bit of history on this road, the road was, like I said on here, was discontinued March 5th of 1962. That was from the Nault Farm to the Manza Farm on the Quincy Woods Road. So there's a section in between that was discontinued. In the early 90s, Tony came to the town, somehow got the town to put $70,000 plus maintenance cents into building basically a private road up to his place, so he could build a house on the hill. So by the town putting that money into it, that opened up that other road. This year is only wanting to close the Nault section of it, and there is still a section that is open between the Nault Farm and the Quincy Woods, Manza Farm on the Quincy Woods Road. So there's lots in there that are landlocked. So under 23-MRSA 3026-A prohibits leaving any property landlocked. And one of them that's landlocked came and talked to the town a couple weeks ago, and they assured him it weren't going to affect him, which it does. It affects him because the road will be closed, and it goes back to the landowners, which by law, they have to let the landowners know when that road is going to be closed ahead of time, and possibly have to pay compensation to the landowners that are abutting that road. So this is only creating more issues by closing just, 500 feet of the Knoll Road. Because there's still a section of that road that is open.
Yes.
I don't believe the attorneys and even the judge would agree with you, Mr. Ayotte. This has been looked at by judges and attorneys. I don't know what piece that you're thinking that is not discontinued, because the discontinuance, you're right, went from Manzer all the way to the Nault property. The only question was, did it stop at the Nault driveway, or did it go all the way to the Valley Road? That was the question. It was very vague when the townspeople voted on it in 1962. This is just to correct the vagueness that they put. There was never any question from your brother's, Mr. Ayotte's property on that was not discontinued. Even he agreed to that. That was never a question that property was not discontinued. The only question was, it was so vague to the Nault property, did it go all the way to the main road, or did it go to the driveway? That was what was in dispute. Since then, Anthony and Stacy have bought the property that they were having a dispute with neighbors on. So this is why they have come into agreements with the town, with legal, everything to close that piece. Technically, it could have been, we could have went to court and got a ruling on that. Would cost more taxpayers money to do so. They dismissed the town from it almost 6 or 7 months ago, I believe, from that. So I'm not sure where you're saying there's a piece that's not discontinued.
By the town putting money into that road, $70,000, we just gave Tony $70,000 for a private driveway now. So if he wants it as a private driveway, maybe he needs to pay the towns back. But it's still blocking off land that I own in past there, my access to that, and it's landlocking somebody else's land in there.
I spoke to the gentleman that you're referring to. The only way he would be landlocked if you didn't give him an easement across your property.
So you're taking it from the town's responsibility and putting it on me.
No,
I'm
I'm
not
not.
giving anybody
That
an
piece was
easement
already
when you guys can't do it
discontinued, sir.
yourself.
It was
As a
already
judge, you go to a judge and the judge will throw it out. They'll find reasons. That's why there's, 249 roads in the state of Maine that have issues with the way that they were discontinued and stuff. No judge wants to rule on them. No legislative body wants to rule on them. I've been down to probably 15 different hearings in Augusta on legislative hearings on these discontinued road, abandoned roads. There's many ways of doing that. But once they put money back into it, the town puts money back into it, that opens that road back up. You tried 2 years ago, 2 falls ago, to discontinuing even the Nault section, which created an issue between the last two on that road, Tony and the woman from Texas at the beginning of the road, the old Nault farm. And so that created them to spend money fighting each other in court just for the judge to throw it out and say, get along. So he bought the land out from under her.
I would like to make one comment because I heard you throw out a number. The year before I became road commissioner, Tony approached Bob Galvin to fix that road because he was going to build a house. And the appropriation at that time was $8,000, not 70.
No, it was,
Okay.
we'll have to look into it, but it
Yeah.
was up 68,000, I believe, was the number that I saw.
I did put some money into it over the years to keep it up.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments on Article 49? Yes.
Okay. Is the driveway still there, or is that not an issue now that Tony owns the Nault place?
That's not an issue.
Not an issue now. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor of Article 49, please signify. Hold them up, please. Down hands, those opposed? The motion carries. That concludes, sorry.
I think Mr. Farron's here to present the award. I wasn't sure if he was coming, so.
Who's presenting an award?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing between me and you folks getting out of here.
That's right.
You wanna vote?
Sure.
Could Mr. Bruce Manza come up here, please?
Call me.
Wasn't me, he says. Nobody knew whether you were gonna be here or not, so we had APV out for you. I guess you did. This is a legislative sentiment. Be it known to all that we, the members of the Senate and the House of Representatives, join in recognizing Bruce Manzer of Anson, the recipient of a Spirit of America Foundation Award. The Spirit of America Foundation was established to encourage and promote volunteerism, and the foundation represents awards to honor local individuals, organizations, or projects in appreciation of their community service. We extend our congratulations and best wishes, and be accorded that this official expression of sentiment be sent forthwith on behalf of the 129th Legislature and the people of the state of Maine.
Again, thank you all for coming to the town meeting, and I declare the meeting closed.